All right. Hello, my friends. And on this episode, we're going to do an FAQ or frequently asked question. And so if you have questions that you want to submit for me to answer on the show, I have a little link down in the notes where you can do so. Again, it's free. It's just one of the things to try to do just to help people, that have certain questions that, it's if you have something that you want to discuss that we haven't discussed before, just send them on in and then we review them and, try to use them as episodes to help, all the, just anyone here looking for guidance or, exploring these concepts. So the question today, and so this is kind of a lengthy question, but I'm going to read it a little bit and then kind of talk about some of the main points here. So also real quick, if you're looking for help and information, please check out the links in the notes. And we also have, you can head over to restoredminds.com, and also please help us out by liking and subscribing and leaving a nice review on iTunes or Spotify. So the question today is about the fear of feeling anxiety. So the question reads, I've had multiple themes in the past with OCD, and I've completely recovered for 6 months straight, but I had a relapse during my finals week. And since my fears and obsessions have been revolved around being anxious itself. So not being able to do things, because I have anxiety, and also the fear of becoming a failure and getting anxious about not being able to quote unquote do good enough. I'm also dealing with strange sensations like fatigue, anxiousness, heavy headaches, and I see others around me living their lives to the fullest and getting their desired results. They've worked for. Meanwhile, I'm upset for not having the results that I should have deserved for putting in so much time and effort. So my fear and obsessions generally revolved around this anxious state during the most crucial moments of my life and not being able to give it my best and becoming a failure in the future. So first off, I just appreciate the vulnerability in this question. Because obviously, these kind of feelings are very real. I mean, the truth, there's no truth in them, right? But the reality is that they feel very real, and they can be very challenging to navigate. So let's talk about kind of multiple levels of this question. Number one, let's talk about the fear of anxiety. So this is a really good example, and I think Hawkins uses this when he talks about in his book Letting Go, when we're talking about feeling levels of feelings, right? So, and what we want to do is we want to kind of work at each feeling, right? Before. So what can happen is that we have fear in our life about something, and then we have a fear of feeling fear, right? So let's say we're anxious about flying, right? And the last couple times in our life we've gone on a plane, we started feeling anxiety. So that's the actual feeling itself is, we're on the plane feeling anxiety, feeling fear while we're flying. Then what can happen though is we can begin to get afraid about feeling that fear in the future, right? So for instance, let's say we're planning a trip in 3 weeks and we're going to get on a plane, and we start to get anxious 3 weeks before the flight because we're afraid that we might feel fear on the plane flight, right? So that's a great example there of feeling fear about feeling fear. Okay. And this can apply to anything, right? I mean, and so obviously to this person's question, it doesn't need to be that specific context, but the idea is that we're having a feeling about feeling fear, or having fear about feeling fear. And this is what you might call anticipatory anxiety, right? I'm getting anxious about anticipating getting anxious, right? It's very meta, but it's also very, just normal, So when we're talking about other feelings as well, it's like we might get angry that we feel anxious, right? Angry that we deal with anxiety, which I think is kind of bled into that question a little bit there. The frustration about, other people are achieving their desired results and I'm struggling with this. And so there's that resentment, that anger, potentially there as well. Again, all normal feelings, nothing wrong with feeling that. But again, the whole problem is that it's this entire question is predicated on this idea of how do I get rid of anxiety so that I can, again, have what I want in life. And I think this is all predicated under a false belief that if you get rid of anxiety, then all of a sudden everything in your life is just going to be fine. This is why a lot of people, so when we have that belief, which is a complete belief, right? It's completely false, because there's, fear is a very normal thing that we're going to feel in life and have to contend with in life. Anxiety is a very normal experience. So thinking this idea that happiness lives on the other side of not having these uncomfortable feelings is never the case, because generally just the fear morphs. Even if we overcome anxiety about one thing, it will morph into something else. And then we're chasing this mythological unicorn of, I want to never feel fear and anxiety. Whereas what should be the goal in recovery is, I want to become big enough and expand my ability to feel any feeling possible and not let it deregulate me, so that I'm strong enough to be able to handle feelings when they show up. Therefore, I don't have to fear them. And then one of the ways we do that is we start to feel whatever we're feeling in that moment. So when you start to have the anticipatory anxiety of, oh my gosh, what if I get anxious in 3 days? What if anxiety shows up in 3 months? What if I get anxious and, whatever, right? Being able to sit with that feeling right there, that moment, that's what the work is right there, is like literally like that moment, that feeling, what's going on right now. That's the feeling that we work with. We work with the fear of fear first. And then once we get really good at not being afraid of feeling fear, then we actually deal with the fear when it shows up. Because as long as we're afraid of fear in the future, it's like our minds can come up with endless possibilities, therefore keep us in that. The paradox is you're actually currently handling fear right now about fear, and you're navigating it. And instead of realizing that if I can navigate fear right now, then I can navigate any fear in any moment in the future. So we always want to work at our emotions from a present standpoint. What emotion am I experiencing right now? And this is, what Hawkins talks about, letting go, and really getting good at feeling into what's going on. And the whole process of letting go is actually allowing whatever emotion we're having to be there non-judgmentally, not trying to get rid of it, not trying to control it, not trying to condemn it, doing it, just really feeling it. So, and by actually bringing our awareness to the energy we're feeling in our body, that's what allows the energy to surface and kind of pass in its own time, and therefore allowing our nervous system to calm down and regulate. The problem is that we're always trying to change our feelings, and we're always trying to suppress. We're doing one of four things with feelings, right? We're suppressing or repressing them, right? Burying them, escaping them, right? Numbing them out, distracting ourselves. We're expressing them, right? Which is actually not that healthy. At least Hawkins makes the argument of that. And then we're letting them go, which means we're realizing that I'm responsible for my feelings at all times. I'm responsible for my inner state. So I need to work with what's going on right here. So if you're noticing that you're getting angry and frustrated, that, hey, there's these other people out there that their lives are perfect, and they're they're achieving everything they want, and they're not dealing with anxiety or OCD like I have to. There's a huge false belief there that those people don't have any issues that they're dealing with. And this is one of the things that the fear mind can do, is to start to convince you that you're abnormal, and that, again, once fear is gone is the only way you're going to be happy. And that's paradoxically going to keep you stuck. So what we want to do instead of that is really understand that in the fear mind, we never can really accurately compare ourselves to people. Well, it's just not something we can do, because we're always going to see the lens of understanding our whole own story and understanding a part of someone else's story, never getting the whole picture. And then we're going to not accurately compare ourselves. And so Jordan Peterson, or Dr. Jordan Peterson, should I say, explains this really well in one of his rules in the book, 12 Rules for Life. And he talks about how really the only accurate comparison you can ever make is to who you were yesterday, and really making sure that you're progressing. Because let's just use this example in this person's question. if you're comparing yourself to, let's say, other people that have graduated, maybe they got a job and you didn't, and they're making a, let's just say, salary. And most people do this with finances. So, let's say some person just graduated and now they have this job and they're making a 6-figure salary. And right now you're dealing with anxiety and you don't have a job. Let's just use that's hypothetical analogy here. It's really easy to look at that person's life and say, well, they're way better off than I am because they have a job and they have this salary, right? So you're comparing these two access points. The problem is that what you're not comparing is all these other aspects of their life than all these other aspects of your life. So let's say that you have a supportive family. Let's say you have a home to live in. Let's say you have, good health, right? And that everything, is, aside from anxiety, like your body's perfectly healthy, right? Whereas this person maybe has some kind of disease that they're working through that's extremely painful for them, but they have a job, where they would look at your life and be like, oh, I would trade anything I can to have the good health that you have, right? Or, hey, you have a relationship and they don't, right? You have, I mean, you can go so many different ways with this. The point I'm making here is that we can never accurately compare ourselves to someone. So it's fruitless to do so. And at the end of the day, that's their journey that they're on, and we don't know really anything about it. And so the only thing that we ever need to focus on is ourselves. And we always need to make sure we're getting 1% better each day, right? And that's going to compound over time, and trusting that. And so if by comparing, what we're often doing is distracting ourselves from where our work really is. And it's always right here. It's always right here, working on with what we're dealing with at this time. So if we're having emotion in our body, it's our ability to be with that, and to work with that, whatever emotion that might be. And really, when the better we get at feeling and letting go of, especially the more, would call them negative emotions, even though I don't particularly like that term, but yeah, I mean, really they're uncomfortable. So we kind of classify them as negative, but the fear, the guilt, the shame, the anger, resentment, right? Those kind of emotions, really feeling into that and releasing it will actually, give us confidence that we can handle these feelings, right? Because when we really start to feel and we really start to notice these changes and releases happening, and we talk obviously a lot about this in Taking Back Control, or TBC, and you can learn some more information down over at Restored Minds or in the notes of the show. That's what the work is right there. It's our ability to be with ourselves and be with the uncomfortable feelings. And the more we do that, the better we get at that, the just better we're going to be. So that's why working with the fear of fear first is actually, that's where the work is right there. That's exactly what we're supposed to do, is work with feeling the anxiety about feeling anxiety. And then when we get really good at that, we feel the anxiety in situations. And then we have the confidence that, like, hey, I can sit through anxiety. Hey, I can be with this feeling. Hey, I can feel through this and release it. And the more confident we get at that, then we start to, detach ourselves from our emotions, realizing that they are temporary experiences. They aren't who we are. And we stop trying to make life about cultivating a certain emotional state and actually going into feeling whatever we're feeling, and not trying to change the world to make us feel a certain way. And that is the, amazing work when you really start to do that. So hope this was helpful. And I hope that, that analogy made sense. And it's not just about fear, right? But it's about all our emotions. And the more we do that work, just the better off we're going to be. So hope you gain some insight from that. And again, feel free to leave me if you have questions for future episodes. Again, just there's a little link down in the notes where you can submit one, where my team and I can review it. And with that said, hope you guys have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Hey there, hope you enjoyed that recent video. We really would appreciate your support real quick if you could like and subscribe to our channel. And if you're looking for help with OCD and anxiety, please check out the links below or visit restoredminds.com, as we'd be happy to help you on your journey. Thanks so much.